Look at the fork in your hand. Not the phone, not the screen, but the actual fork. Chances are it has 4 tines. Not 3, not 5, but 4. And here is the strange part. You have probably used thousands of forks in your life without ever questioning why that specific number became the global standard. Spoons vary in size and knives come in all shapes, but forks are almost always 4 tines. So why do they have exactly 4? It turns out that this simple design choice is the result of centuries of trial, error, cultural resistance, engineering tweaks, and even a little bit of social drama. The fork did not just appear fully formed, it evolved. And the number 4 was not random. Before forks became a normal sight, people mostly ate with their hands, knives, and spoons. In medieval Europe, knives were common personal tools that you carried to every meal. They were used to cut food, spear meat, and bring it directly to your mouth. It was practical, but not exactly elegant. While forks did exist, they were rare and often had just 2 tines. Early versions appeared in the Byzantine Empire and later in parts of Italy. When forks began spreading across Europe around the 11th century, they were not instantly embraced. In fact, they were highly controversial. Some religious figures criticized them as an unnecessary luxury. When a Byzantine princess introduced the fork to Venice, some clergy reportedly saw it as an insult to God's design for human hands. Table manners back then were deeply tied to morality and class. At this stage, 2-tined forks were mainly used to hold food steady while cutting, not for scooping or twirling. 2 tines worked fine for spearing solid chunks of meat, but they were not very versatile. Imagine trying to eat peas, rice, or pasta with a 2-pronged fork. Small pieces would slip right through, and soft foods would fall apart. It simply was not efficient. As cuisine became more varied, especially in Italy and later France, people needed utensils that could handle more delicate dishes. Pasta became increasingly popular, and twirling spaghetti with only 2 tines was far from ideal. So, designers experimented. 3-tined forks started appearing during the Renaissance. The extra tine made a noticeable difference. Food was easier to hold, and pasta became more manageable. But 3 still was not perfect, because the balance felt off. 3 tines improved stability, but introduced a subtle imbalance. When you press a fork into food, you apply downward pressure. With 3 tines, the force distribution is not symmetrical because 1 tine sits centered while the other 2 sit on either side. It works, but it is less stable than a 4-point distribution. For tines create a more even structure that is balanced and symmetrical. This is not just about aesthetics. It affects how the fork feels and how smoothly it enters food. A 4-tine fork glides in more evenly, holds food securely, and creates a shallow scoop between the tines. This helps with semi-solid foods like mashed potatoes or salad. It becomes both a spear and a scoop. That dual function is the key. By the 17th and 18th centuries, 4-tine forks began dominating European tables. The fork transformed from a luxury curiosity into a daily necessity. 4 tines hit the sweet spot between function and practicality. It offered a more secure grip than 2 or 3. It was not too bulky. It was strong enough not to bend easily, and it was comfortable in the mouth. That last detail matters more than you might think. 5 or more tines would make the fork wider, which might hold more food but would be awkward to bite from. Your mouth has a natural width limit for comfort, and 4 tines fit that space perfectly. While specialized forks for salad, dessert, or seafood might have different prong counts, the standard dinner fork is almost always 4. Globally, it is the quiet winner of centuries of design competition. There is also a psychological element at play. Once a design becomes standard, it shapes our expectations. We grow up using 4-tine forks, and our world is built around that shape. If someone handed you a 5-tine fork tomorrow, it would feel wrong even if it worked fine. Humans are deeply influenced by familiarity. The next time you sit down for a meal, look at your fork. It has 4 tines, not just because of tradition, but because it proved to be the most efficient and practical design for the way we eat. It is a reminder that even the simplest objects carry stories of engineering and human habit. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We will be sure to acknowledge your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.